But let's talk Trump now. Let me go to Bill Mitchell. Bill, you've been uniquely, I would say, critical, very negative, often highly abusive about Donald Trump. How did you feel when you woke up this morning and saw that not only had he won in Iowa, but he'd won by record-breaking margins on every metric and had cleaned everyone's clock?
I have to disagree with you with the record-breaking. The turnout in Iowa last night was 110,000. Donald Trump got about 51,000 votes. That's equivalent to about a small college football stadium also. That is the exact amount that Ted Cruz got in 2016. Although Trump's percentage was higher, the actual amount of votes was smaller because the turnout was so low in Iowa. We had bad weather, and we also had the AP calling the race literally before people had even voted. I've never seen anything like it, where the AP comes out and calls the races.
All right, but Bill, if your preferred candidate, Ron DeSantis, had got these numbers, you'd be saying the complete opposite and assuring me he was now a shoo-in for the presidency.
Well, no, I would not be saying that at all. You know, we can say that Trump won by 30 points. He beat DeSantis by 30 points. But really, Trump only won by 2 points because he got 51% of the vote. That means that 49% of Iowans did not want him to be the president. He is the titular incumbent. He is the leader, supposedly, in this race. Half of Iowans did not want him. Also, he did poorly in suburban areas, and he did poorly with young people. DeSantis got 35% of the 18 to 29 crowd, and Trump only got 22% of that crowd. So it was not as big a deal as you're making it out to be.
I think it is a big deal, and I've been very critical of Trump, actually, in the last year or so. Let me turn to Clay Travis, who joined us, one of the founders of Outkick. Clay, you were kind of in the DeSantis camp, but you think it's time for the party to rally behind Trump. Why?
I think DeSantis is the most effective governor in the United States. I think he did an incredible job. He got everything right with COVID. I think Florida is incredibly lucky to have him as a governor. But I think the message that came out of Iowa is Trump's going to be the nominee. And rather than fight this out and spend tens of millions, if not $100 million or more attacking Trump going forward, Piers, I think it's time to go ahead and acknowledge that Trump is going to be the nominee. I haven't seen any suggestion that Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis is going to be able to catch him. Yes, he got 51% of the vote, but Vivek Ramaswamy dropped out. Predictably, pretty much all of Vivek Ramaswamy's support would be likely to go to Trump. If Ron DeSantis dropped out, I think the majority, maybe even the vast majority of Ron DeSantis support would go to Trump. I don't think it would go to Nikki Haley. The math just doesn't add up. I think this is over. It was a dominating victory, and Trump is going to be the nominee, barring a health issue or something truly outlandish coming from the Supreme Court. Trump is going to be the Republican nominee in 2024.
OK, Louise Mensch, you're not completely convinced. You still see a path for Nikki Haley. How?
There is a path for Nikki Haley. It's a pretty narrow one, but it is there, and that is to win New Hampshire convincingly. She barely campaigned in Iowa. She managed her expectations, and she almost came second. It's true that Ron DeSantis is still alive because he did come second, but only just. If Nikki Haley can pull a rabbit out of the hat in New Hampshire, it's not totally over, because the anti-Trumpers, the never-Trumpers in the Republican Party, will then say we've got to get full on behind Nikki to have any chance of beating this guy.
But did you think, Louise, in a million years, because I didn't, that a year ago we would be talking about Donald Trump having such a landslide victory in Iowa?
No, I did not. I'll be completely honest. It is absolutely true that it was a very low turnout because of the weather. That said, it was decisive. I wouldn't say that it was anything other than decisive. He is Teflon Trump. As you said, nothing sticks to the guy. And it's amazing to me as a political observer to see the kind of grip that he has on the Republican Party's imagination, because there are problems with him. The Supreme Court could come down against him. His health is really bad. You talk about Biden. There's nothing between the two of them.
But you know what? Last night, 70-odd% of Iowan Republicans, when asked, said that they would still support Trump in this race, even if he's convicted of a crime. I mean, I found that absolutely staggering. They also, the majority of them, have bought into his belief that he was robbed of the first election.
Well, I think you've got to, if you want to win the general election as opposed to the nomination, you've got to look at those independents. And some of the numbers that came out were not great for him. A lot of Nikki Haley supporters said that they would not vote for him in a general election. It doesn't take much of your core vote to peel away from you for you to lose. That's what happened to Trump in 2020.
And we have no idea what the wider American public will do about all this, because this is purely at the moment a Republican-only vote.